I'd rather see someone besides Donald Trump become the nominee outright on the first ballot.
But what if he
But
does?
if that doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen, then I'd like to see a open convention.
We go to a brokered convention, and the D.C. power brokers will drop someone in who is exactly to the liking of the Washington establishment. If that would happen, we will have a manifest revolt on our hands all across this country.
Well, Republicans from this election and last have mixed feelings over whether a brokered convention would be a good idea to prevent Donald Trump from gaining the nomination. So what are the odds that it happens, and how would it work?
Joining us now is a man who's watched American politics for many decades. Larry Sabato is the director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics, and he joins us live from Charlottesville this morning. Larry, they can't have a brokered convention. I mean, there's no one to broker it, and it contravenes democracy, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I call it a contested convention, not a brokered convention. I mean, if they did have a brokered convention, I hope they take applications, because I would apply, and you would too, to be a broker. I think at the very least it would result in an ambassadorship to a warm country.
Well, what if...
So, but
I'd take that.
There just aren't. We don't have brokers anymore. Who would do this?
I know.
Who isn't tainted by one candidate or another, or one ideology or another? There's no one, quote, universally respected in this very divisive contest.
But is it possible that Donald Trump does not get the magic number of delegates at 1,237?
Yes, it's possible.
So,
I don't think it's probable, but it is very possible. It is more possible this year than in any year since the last truly brokered convention, which was on the Republican side in 1948, which produced Thomas E. Dewey, who lost the general election. But look, if it did happen, to get back to Tucker's second question, suppose Donald Trump gets 1,100 delegates. He's short of the 1,237. What do you think is going to happen in Cleveland if he is denied the nomination in somehow, some way that has never been explained? All of the other delegates are going to be able to unite behind some other candidate. Well, number one, you're going to have a great number of the Trump delegates walk out. And number two, I'm old enough to remember 1968 Chicago. I was actually in Chicago the week before that convention, and I remember it was an armed camp. I really think that there is the potential for some unpleasant things to happen, and I'm going to leave it that general.
Well, I completely agree with that. I mean, every point, you made a bunch of smart points, but also, with respect, they're kind of obvious points. So all the geniuses who are calling for more chaos in this process and will somehow figure it out in Ohio in July, what exactly are they thinking?
Well, they're thinking exactly one thing. They do not want Donald Trump.
Right.
They're willing to do absolutely anything to make sure that he is not the nominee. You know, Tucker, I think in their own minds, they have already conceded the presidential race. They're either going to get another, quote, Republican, real Republican nominee for the GOP by dislodging Trump, or Trump will get the Republican nomination, and then, almost inevitably, there will be an independent, quote, real Republican ticket. And that guarantees Hillary's election. It does do one thing for the Republicans. It probably saves the Senate for the Republicans and the House.
I'd love to know what that candidate's going to run on.
Because it will create a pool of millions of additional
Republican
votes that will vote for the congressional nominees.
Because the promise that all the candidates took was to back whoever the front runner was, whoever won the nomination. And
but you run as a third-party candidate.
Promises are operative on the day they're made. They have to be renewed daily. You know that.
Well, it's amazing. Larry Sabato with an insight into what's going to happen. Amazing. Thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it.